Yes, welcome to Box to Box Football, guys, and yes, I'm here with Jack. I'm going to talk about transfers, as we always do. Obviously, I'm going to wait for you guys to kind of come in so we can get a proper broad aspect of what's going on. But big news has just dropped about Paul Pogba, and it seems that he will not just. I just listen. I just ate, but it seems that he will not be renewing with Manchester United, and if everything goes, depending on what happens, Paul Pogba could be a free agent next season. So now it's in Manchester United's court on what to do with this Paul Pogba situation. With Mino Raiola not seeming to want to negotiate with them properly, they could lose Paul Pogba on a free, or lose him this season and maybe gain a few books. But I don't know, Jack. How do you feel about how this whole transfer has gone? Looking from Manchester United side and the Paul Pogba side at the same time.
First of all, I think you have to have sympathy for Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba has been fighting, trying to knock over roadblocks his whole Manchester United career, his whole football career, really. We have pundits, not to name any names, Graham Souness. We've all seen the memes about Pogba can have a 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10 performance, and Graham Souness can go, but why is he dyeing his hair or something? You're just like, Graham, he scored 2 goals and set one up and covered 98% passing accuracy. What the hell are you talking about? So Pogba's had to kind of fight his critics for a long time. However, though, James, I will say that it has been a slow burn to get to where we are right now. And it feels to me personally, just to me, you tell me if you agree or not, he came in as the savior, right? We were at a point where, no more Carrick or Darren Fletcher or Paul Scholes, right? This was going to be the new era. This was going to be the guy that we're going to move forward with. Manchester United, here we go. And slowly but surely, he wasn't. What's up, Silver Surfer? We kind of slowly got to a point where it was like, right, Pogba's not really that guy anymore. But then he was still the best player, you'd say, in the whole team, right? You'd still say he's easily the best player in the team. And then, obviously, years go by, and Manchester United change managers, and there's always rumours every single summer that he's going to leave. And then Bruno Fernandes comes in. Now Pogba's not even kind of the best player on the team or the most relied upon player in the team. So I think it gets to a point where, and, James, I don't know if you agree, but we saw this at points last year. Did Man United need Paul Pogba? I think you and I would probably agree they're better with him, but they don't need him to win games anymore. They don't. You can win a Manchester United team with that attack, especially now with Jadon Sancho coming in. That Manchester United team can win with a McTominay, Van der Beek, McTominay, Fred midfield double pivot with Bruno in front of them. They can win without Paul Pogba now. And I think Pogba wants to go somewhere where he can win. That's not a guarantee at Manchester United. And he also wants to be loved and respected. And I think, to be fair, in the Premier League, he gets disrespected probably unjustly. But, James, I saw a stat the other day. He was, per game, he was dispossessed more than any other player. Now, you and I, stats can be taken whatever way you want. I would say that means he's trying to be more adventurous and more aggressive in his play style. Paul Pogba could very easily just knock the ball from side to side, and we could go, oh, he never lost the ball. But we wouldn't get some of these better moments and chances created that he usually does by taking those risks. So anyway, that was a long answer, but I think that it's come to an end. And I think this is one of those rare occasions, James, where it's good for Manchester United if he goes now, and it's good for Paul Pogba if he goes now. Seriously.
We have first of all a quick comment from Silver Surfer here, Jack.
Silver Surfer. Guys, about Harry Kane, he's going nowhere. I'm sick of the negativity around us just when we started a decent transfer window.
Would you say Tottenham had a decent transfer window?
I think that if Golini comes through, if Christian Romero comes through, and if Brian Gill comes through, I think it's been a good start. Okay. And obviously we've got a video coming out, and remember there's a couple weeks still here to go. I think it could get better, but I think right now it's been a solid start, but we're kind of right in the middle of it. We're 3 weeks or so away from the Premier League starting. So I don't know if it's been a great transfer window for Tottenham. And Silver Surfer, I hate to be negative on you here, but don't write off Harry Kane still not going to Man City. I can still see that happening. I'm sorry to say it.
I mean, the funniest thing, Silver Surfer, before we came on, I went onto Twitter and I was just like obviously browsing. Then I just seen this clip of Harry Kane. This is like almost 3-minute clip of Harry Kane and just some of the amazing moments and goals he scored for Tottenham. And then someone put someone retweeted it and said that all them goals, but they're all meaningless because he hasn't scored it. He hasn't done this. He hasn't done that. And I just look at Harry Kane right now. I don't think he's going to disrespect Tottenham by leaving. Yeah.
No.
But if his heart's not fully in it, why would you want to keep a player like that? I get it, what Harry Kane brings to the club. But deep down, he's going to feel, I'm not going to win with this team. And then another season's going to go by. Another season's going to go by where his value drops and drops and drops and drops to a point where he's unsellable now. He's not going to get the money that like you could have got before. You know, I get it. Players are almost just like Harry Kane, who's almost irreplaceable. But if you can get like 100 million and the player involved in there, why wouldn't you not want to do that? Why would you not want to build for the future with a player who Harry Kane has been great, but the injuries have been so much throughout his time at Tottenham. You can get him out at the age of 28 years of age, get a bag ton of money and get an extra player in there. Yeah. Why wouldn't you not want to do that? But here's a few comments here for us, Jack.
There's a possibility of Koundé and Romero. I think Romero it seems to be all but a guarantee at this point, and I think that actually it's a great deal. That'll be a Fabio Paratici deal. That won't be a Nuno Espirito Santo. That'll be Paratici. His hands are all over that one because.
How good is Romero?
Huh?
Wait, is Romero? Is that a swap deal for Eric? Lamela?
No. That's You're thinking about Brian Gill from was that Sevilla? I think. The thing with Romero, that's Christian Romero. When Fabio Paratici was at Juventus, Juventus were heavily linked with Christian Romero. Now Fabio Paratici moved to Spurs, and Christian Romero is going to sign for Spurs. So that's got Fabio Paratici written all over it. Jules Koundé, I'm not so sure. I think Jules
Koundé won't happen because I honestly do believe that Real Madrid could lose Varane this season. They've already lost Ramos. They're going to lose the two main center backs there. And Koundé has been a long-term target for them for even before this Ramos thing came up. Koundé was the one that's going to come in. So I see Koundé more on as a Real Madrid side than a Tottenham side. But if you do get him, I think it's a brilliant deal because you also get rid of Davinson Sanchez at the same time.
It feels to me like, one of Davinson Sanchez or Alderweireld needs to go before somebody like Koundé could be brought in. And then obviously, you're creating a whole new centre-back partnership with a new manager. I don't know how that's strictly going to go the first few months of the year, excuse me. Silver Surfer, no disrespect, guys. I'll put my money on the line and say he stays. Look, if you're forcing me gun to the head type stuff of if Kane's going to stay or go, I think he stays. I think Daniel Levy persuades him one more year, then I will accept a reasonable bid for you to go wherever you want. I honestly believe that is going to happen. But what I'm saying to you is, Man City haven't signed anybody. They've let some pretty big names go. I know Eric Garcia is not a huge name, but Sergio Aguero, right? Fernandinho, I think, re-signed, but they haven't signed anybody yet. And it would be so Man City after losing Aguero. They need a striker. Harry Kane would be the guy to basically hand them the league for the next 4 years straight.
I think I've already said this in previous videos when I've been asked, does Harry Kane stay or go? And I said that I think he stays at Tottenham. I don't think Daniel Levy really wants to sell the guy, if I'm being honest. And if he was going to sell the guy, it's an astronomical fee. But I'm just looking at it from the point of view of that. If you keep him for another year, does Kane's value drop?
Yeah, of course. Of course it does.
And I'm so you have a guy at its absolute heights right now. What about if Tottenham have a really bad season again and he's involved in that? Does that not kill it?
No, but so you sell Gareth Bale and you have all this money. We talked about this yesterday. What happened with all that money? Where did that money go? Now, I know this is a different age and a different circumstance, right? But you may look at that money and go, I don't know who we're going to bring in that's going to be super convincing, that's going to kind of do the job for us. Now, the recent additions haven't been bad. Højbjerg and Ndombele, Bergwijn's been pretty solid as well, right? Maybe the fullbacks are a bit questionable, but generally speaking, it feels like there's a slight change in the transfer strategy, and maybe this time it's going to be a little bit better. But there is always that temptation to look at how the Bale money was spent and go, yeah, we can't do that again. Silver Surfer, Sevilla wants Sanchez and cash for Koundé. It's going to be a hard deal. Look, I hate to say this as well for any Spurs fans out there as well. Silver Surfer, I know you're a big Spurs fan. Like, dude, does Jules Koundé want to go to Spurs?
I think he already said it. It was. I feel like it was already agreed upon that they were going to get Davinson Sanchez and like some money for him. And I think Koundé was the one that turned it down because he knows the options that he could have, like he could have gone to. Because when you actually think about the deal on Sevilla's side of it, does it work that they get a center back that they don't have to go search for now, and a decent center back in Davinson Sanchez, and also get money at the same time, and losing a player who is good but he's not like irreplaceable. It works out for them that way,
right? Gary Garner's stack of ribs. Spurs are a laughing stock. OMG. You're gonna have.
He doesn't want Tottenham. It's just what it is. He just doesn't want Tottenham.
James gonna have a smile on his face with that one. Sammy, always one for a hot take. Harry in a hurry. Oh no.
But also, the guys for the guys who've also tuned in. We're also talking about Paul Pogba,
right?
And
back on topic.
Seems that like he is wanting out of Manchester United. Negotiation for his contract just seems to have broken down, and it feels like he will be going into the final year of his deal with Manchester United. And the question is that should Manchester United cash in, or should they let them go, or should they cash in right now, or should they keep him for the rest of the season? And if he does go, what teams are available to take him? Sammy, Real Madrid, PSG. Please comment down below, guys. Let us know.
The reason why I was so big on do you want me to do Gary's comment or do you want me to go?
Just go first. Go.
Okay. The reason why I think this works so well for everybody, James, let's look at the types of central midfielders that are available for a team like Manchester United right now, right? Leon Goretzka is refusing to sign a new Bayern contract if he doesn't get Neuer, Muller type money. Lewandowski type money, which is about 20 million. Now, I don't know if he's worth as much as like a Neuer or a Lewandowski to that club, but I'd say he's probably in around the kind of 17 million euros a year, 18 million euros a year. So that's 2 million euros a year less than those top stars. Apparently they're offering him like 10, maybe 12 right now. Manchester United would happily pay him around that 18 to 20 mark like that. Okay. Saul Niguez is supposedly on his way out of Atletico Madrid. It's another great player who would easily do the job of replacing Paul Pogba and maybe be a better tactical fit for Manchester United. Eduardo Camavinga, a slightly cheaper option, but a guy with potentially higher upside. So for me, I think the PSG one makes a lot of sense. I think that if a deal can be done where a player coming the other way from Juventus, I think that makes sense. Paulo Dybala, we've talked about him. He's got a year left on his deal at the moment. I think that would make. Sorry, mate.
I don't think the Paulo Dybala deal work just because of Bruno Fernandes. I'm looking for someone that complements them a bit more. Maybe someone. If you say a Chiesa, I could get that a little bit more. But
you've just signed Jadon Sancho. You know what I mean? Like it would probably have to be a central
wingers to have a player like the Bala and looking at this Manchester United team. Everything just kind of twists when it comes to deals. But let's just get into a few of what the guys are saying.
PSG though is the one that makes sense. I personally believe that Kylian Mbappe will be playing for Real Madrid next season. Some point late August, I think the Mbappe deal will be done. I think Pogba will be through the door as well. And I think obviously PSG are going to try and get rid of somebody like Icardi, maybe a couple of those lower level midfielders that they have in there as well, just to make room, right? I think that makes sense. And Manchester United, there are some really, really top level players who are in their mid-20s who could come in and just replace Pogba like for like. Gary Garner's stack of ribs. I love that name though. That always gets me. It always tickles me. It's going to be interesting to see how Barca manage their financial struggles with Messi signing a new 5-year contract. Look, yeah, it's going to be interesting. But one thing I think we know is a lot of these clubs are too big to fail. And we've seen that with financial fair play. And we've seen that a lot of the times whenever they've done anything wrong, they usually get kind of let off the hook, you know?
Barcelona will get a little bit of leeway, but you're going to have to see one of them top guys go. Someone like a Griezmann, someone like a Felipe Coutinho, a Pjanic, someone's gonna have to make way, or not just someone, a few of them are gonna have to make way.
So
because
Junior Firpo's gone, right?
yeah,
Pjanic is being offered to everybody. Coutinho is being offered to everybody. Griezmann's being offered to everybody. Trying to think who, probably Martin Braithwaite, right?
Braithwaite's probably been up. Yes, he's also one of the guys
Right.
Who's been put up for sale, but Barcelona will make it happen.
Yeah.
And to me, I look at the players who Barcelona are putting up for sale. I get it. The stock is low. But as a football team, maybe like a Tottenham, for instance, would you not want to take a chance on a Pjanic? Would you not want to take a chance on a Felipe Coutinho? Because personally, I being an Arsenal fan, I'll take anything right now if they offer me. But let's get back into the comments.
Griezmann, in all honesty, James, Griezmann would be an interesting one because, you know, keep in mind, Griezmann is now like, he's a World Cup winner. He's had his time playing for Barcelona. He's won a league for Atletico Madrid, right? And he's won a Champions League with Atletico Madrid.
Yes. No. He won the UEFA. No, he won the UEFA Cup. He won the Europa League with them.
Europa League, right. But like he's done a lot. Maybe he'd be interested by being the guy at Spurs. You know, maybe with Son. You know,
Arsenal. Griezmann Arsenal makes a lot of sense. So we have a few comments here, Jack, saying Paul Pogba fits PSG. It makes
I agree.
It makes sense. And do I feel it makes sense? The reason why I'm a bit anxious with it, guys, is the point of view of PSG have a lot of midfielders. Think about it right now. They just signed Gini Wijnaldum. They got Verratti in there. They got who's the
Leandro Paredes.
You have Paredes in there. You have Ander Herrera. You have Guy. You've also gained it.
Idrissa Gueye. Yeah. Idrissa Gueye, James, and Ander Herrera are two guys who they could probably quite easily just let walk. You know what I mean? Like they're not married to those guys just yet.
And also, you have another one in there. There's
Di Maria kind of plays central midfield from time to time.
Who's a defensive one that also plays for Portugal? Danilo or something.
Danilo Pereira, yeah.
That's 6 midfielders right there. Right. They're going to have to find a way to ship someone out to bring a Paul Pogba in. Does Paul Pogba make sense in the PSG midfield? Yes. But also, I look at it from the point of view of the setup then. What position does Paul Pogba take up? Does he play next to Verratti? You know? I don't see both of them being a series. I see them playing almost in a double pivot, but lopsided with basically those guys being the focal point with someone sitting. That's something that I see a bit more. But then what happens to Neymar then? But again, we can get into a lot of that stuff later on. We have a few more
James, Frenchman, okay.
Yeah.
Going to the capital to play, and the link up with, you know, we've seen the link up with Jordan, right? I know he's an Adidas athlete, but, you know, the link up with the Jordan brand, I'm sure Pogba's going to absolutely love that from kind of a branding and a marketing point of view. You know, he's probably, if we're being honest, got a more realistic shot at Champions League than he would if he was at Manchester United at this point of time. And also, he's going to be respected and loved more there than he is at Manchester United. I know a lot of Manchester United fans love Paul Pogba, but it's the rest of the British media. They haven't really, and the fans, they haven't really warmed to him, have they? They're kind of quick to criticize him.
No, listen. Yeah, they hate when he was Millie rocking and doing all that type of stuff. Yeah. There, we have a few more comments here. Jack.
Silver Surfer, can United challenge for the title with the new additions? And do you guys rate Ollie? So not to I guess give away mine and James's prediction video, which will be coming up in the next 4 or 5 weeks or so when the transfer window comes to an end, but. Yeah, United have a shot at the title. They do. I've got to be honest. We need to see what happens with Varane. We need to see what happens with Pogba, but that's huge. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, look, I think that it's very, very easy to do the type of job that he's done so far. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has not reinvented the wheel right now. He's not doing anything special that, no other manager is capable of. He's playing it simple and he's playing it conservative on the most part in his management style. I don't think anybody is lauding Manchester United's success because of how fantastic Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is as a manager. They've changed kind of the DNA and the culture of the club. I don't know, James, do you agree with that? Or do you, because I don't rate Ole strictly as a tactician. I just think he's a good coach, Yeah,
I feel like Ole isn't the best, tactician, as you say, but I look at this Manchester United team. I look at the way as it's instructed right now and the few additions that they could bring in and even more. Manchester United have to challenge, not just because of what they brought in. It's what the club has been all about.
Yeah.
you look at the Premier League history, and it's been Manchester United, Manchester United, sprinkle a bit of Arsenal and Chelsea in there, but it's been mainly Manchester United. And for them to be this long without a Premier League title, and to be honest, even without a proper challenge in almost nearly 10 years now, it's almost unheard of. So I see Manchester United challenging this year.
They're not good seconds, are they? I think that's the main thing. There's some seconds in there, but it's not like, went to the last game week. Like, nah.
Yeah, there's 1 second in there. And let's be honest, like after like the 25th week, Man City.
Jose finished second with them, right?
Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah, but Man City got 100 points. So, yeah.
But there was a gap. Yeah, exactly, huge gap. So Sammy's comment: if PSG sign all these players and don't win that Sunday league, then Poch should retire from club management. Look,
Sammy, are you a fan of Pochettino or what? Tell me,
Sammy, Sammy, are you a fan of anyone apart from Real Madrid? I'd just say, look, with Pochettino, I think he is this kind of manager, though, who does like to cement himself into what he's doing, right? Like, Pochettino doesn't just come in and you automatically win. He changes the whole foundation and culture of the club. Then you see it. This year, we should see more of what Poch has been working on. But, he signed an extension. So
I didn't get it with like Zidane being available. Like, what happens midway if they're not enjoying it? Because you know what PSG are like, they can be trigger fingered.
Right.
Tom, do you have a few comments from Silver Surfer?
So Gary Garner's stack of ribs. Liga isn't exactly a farmers' league, to be fair. You're right. I mean, it will always get criticised, and PSG should be winning that easy. Rafa Benitez joining Everton is absolutely insane. Is it insane? Would you use the word insane at this point of Rafa's career? I'm not so sure.
I think it is insane because you always think when you think about a manager in your head, you think about what they've done. So you think of Arsenal, you think about Arsene Wenger, straight up Arsenal. Think about Jose Mourinho, you think about Chelsea, or
right.
He's been with you think about that first thing. When you think about Rafa, you think about Liverpool, and now for him to be on the opposite side on the Everton end, it's weird. It's actually such a shock. And if you're like a Liverpool fan, it might not affect you as much, but Rafa's a legend at that football club, and to have him go the opposite way, it feels weird. It feels like, and like if you're an Everton fan, how do you get behind the Rafa Benitez? Because he's destroyed you and killed you guys on like a number of occasions, and plus that affiliation with Liverpool will always be there with him. So how do you really get behind him? But again, the best way for them to get behind him is him winning games for Everton, and everything will be fine.
Sammy, how do you go from saying that if Poch doesn't win the league with PSG, he should retire from club management, to also calling him a top 5 manager in the world? What is that? What is that take? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, he's still quite a young manager.
Do you know what? I could kind of understand where Sammy's coming from. He probably, because he puts Poch at a high level, but if he can't deliver at the highest level, he doesn't want to hear it. That's something. I'm guessing that's where I'm thinking you're coming from. Because yes, Pochettino's I think he's a good manager, but compared to the rest of them, top 6.
Okay, all right. He was joking. Okay. Okay. I was gonna say, like, it's pretty strong to make him retire. Silver Surfer, I don't think players like Griezmann want to come to London. It's hard for teams like Arsenal and Spurs to convince that kind of player. I'm not so sure, dude.
London is the best city in England. Yeah,
right.
London is such a diverse place, and I feel like a lot of players are drawn towards that. If you remember, Alexis Sanchez was actually going to go to Liverpool in 2015, but when Arsenal came in, and like the lore of coming to London is what really convinced him to join Arsenal, and we know how great he was there. London is always like the biggest drawing point for these type of teams, and especially like a team for Arsenal, who wouldn't want to play in London. It's a sick city. It's not like what's a terrible city that you don't really want to be in.
James, you're in dangerous territory right now, my friend.
Well, Essex. You probably don't want to come. Essex is terrible. Don't tell me. I don't care. Essex is.
You don't know who's in the chat. No. Look, Silver Surfer. I think you've also got to look at what somebody's achieved and where their head might be at. Now, obviously, we don't know these players personally. Like, we don't know what they're going to like or not like. But I look at Antoine Griezmann. Is Antoine Griezmann trying to win a Ballon d'Or? I don't think so. Is Antoine Griezmann trying to win another World Cup? I'd say he's probably happy with one, but he's going to have his sights set on that. So he wants to be playing for a good team and respected and all this kind of stuff. And he might want to try himself in a different league again. So, to me, Griezmann at a Spurs or an Arsenal, you might think in your head initially crazy, but it's just not true. It's just not true. So
Gary, I'm from Essex too. Essex is terrible. Let's listen. Let's be truthfully honest.
James, I knew it. The moment you were going to talk about
I'm from Essex. I'm here right now, and I'm like, oh, really? But come on.
Stu Mack, the Premier League has more errors leading to goals than any other major league. Okay, interesting. I'd love to know the source on that info. Despite the deep lines of like Burnley, Palace, that kind of thing, even when cowardly teams more errors, this nonsense about Liga is bogus. Yeah, look, I tend to agree with you. I think it's just generally it's the disparity between PSG and the other 19 teams in the league. It's as simple as that. I think we can look across nearly all the other major leagues. There's the best team and the worst team are closer together than they are in Liga.
And also I feel like it's the ignorance of especially English football and like English fans. It's the thing that we have the best league in the world, we have the best players in the world, we have this, like we have that. We don't care what everyone else does. They can't come to the Prem and dominate the way that they do in other leagues. And to me, it's just totally false. Is League On a bit of a joke league at times? Yes, in the point of view of just the way PSG dominated. But is it a quality league overall? Yes, because think about it. Some of the best players in the Premier League have come from League On. I'm pretty sure a few of the PFA players of the years, Riyad Mahrez and N'Golo Kante, both came from League On. The best players in my eyes to scout right now come from League On. So I always agree with you when it comes to that.
PSG and the new owners, all they've tried to do is buck the trend regarding them being considered a developmental league. Signing the likes of Neymar, getting the likes of somebody like a Donnarumma and Mbappe, these kinds of players, of Verratti, keeping them as well. They're trying to prove that, the French league is not just a developmental league like, say, the Portuguese league or the Dutch league or something like that. So they're trying to be here to stay. But we've got to be honest, Lyon, all these teams, they're eventually just going to sell all their best players.
Also, Gary, I think it depends on like where you are in Essex, but just the majority of places in Essex, if you're like young like me, I don't get up for going like Essex. Like I'm more like, I can't wait to get to London. Like to me, at times I feel like there's nothing to actually do in Essex, and especially where I live, it's a bit boring, And I came from Ireland, so if I'm saying that about Essex, you should understand.
So James, comment from Sammy. Do you mind throwing that up?
Oh, yes. Sorry there.
So I think I'm the only person on earth who rates Tammy a bit, lol. Would you take him, James? So, James, this is an interesting one because I spoke to you about this recently. Like, for me, I think if I clouded over the name and gave you what he's achieved and his stats and his return and his age and his appearances and all this kind of stuff, you go, oh, who is this kid? And then you show the name Tammy Abraham and somehow people go, oh, he's not that great. Like I think he's a good player. I think that Arsenal should be aiming higher, but I think that he is a good player. We can't deny that Tammy Abraham is a good Premier League striker.
Do you know what it is with Tammy? I like Tammy Abrahams, but there's a few disparities that I need to get with Tammy Abrahams. I need a full consistent season for him in the Premier League where he's getting his 15 to 20 goals a season for him, because in the Championship he does that on a number of occasions. And yes, he's done that with Chelsea, but hasn't to me been on a consistent level. I think he needs to go in there, he needs to get into a football club, maybe like a West Ham, maybe like an Everton, and just get comfortable in the Premier League. Because I still don't feel he's comfortable enough in the Premier League. Now, me coming at it from an Arsenal point of view, I like Tammy Abrahams, but he's not the answer for this football club. He's nowhere. If you're not good enough to play for Chelsea, in my opinion, you're probably not good enough to play for Arsenal. And I'm kind of done with Arsenal bringing in Chelsea players. I want to aim not just to compete for the top four, but to win Premier League titles. And I don't think Tammy Abrahams is going to take Arsenal to a Premier League title.
And that's the problem. That's the problem. Like, I think, there's this it's the phrase I know is usually from the NFL, but the idea is that if you're not making decisions that are going to be a step-by-step plan to put you as the number one team, then you shouldn't be making those decisions. You know what I mean? And if Tammy Abraham for you is your, oh, he'll be our stepping stone until we can find something better, then that's okay. But I'd say, is there much of a gap between Lacazette and Tammy Abraham? I'd say in terms of ability, they're probably pretty close. Would you agree with that?
I feel like Lacazette is still a bit better. I feel like I look at Tammy Abraham's game and there's a
Close
lot
though, right?
Now, yeah, but I still think Lacazette is a good. Is like a good. It's not miles off. But I think Lacazette is a good bit better. Abraham's is someone that has the potential, but he has a lot to unlock in his game. The one thing I look at his game that needs to improve, especially to me, is his heading ability. For someone so tall, so big, his aerial presence isn't there, and especially for a Premier League striker, and especially the team that he will go into, that's something that he's gonna need to improve at, in my opinion.
Yeah. Gary Garner's stack of ribs. I want to see Benzema at Chelsea, dude. I want to see Benzema in the Premier League. I don't care where it is.
Gary, is that a true statement that like he's going to join Chelsea? Because I feel like he's almost second in command to Marcelo right now for Real Madrid captain. I feel like he's a good 2-3 more years at Real Madrid. So to see him at Chelsea, I don't think it's going to happen.
1 year left on his deal, James.
More than likely, he's going to renew. I feel like he has that strong relationship with Real Madrid at this moment in time. If you're a Chelsea fan right now, a player that I don't know why I haven't heard much about is Lukaku. Why not Lukaku? Why not go back in for Lukaku and bring him in? Because you bring in Lukaku, Chelsea automatically go from title challengers to almost title favorites, in my opinion.
With the season he's had, it's probably the worst time to try and buy him back. That's all I'd say. Because you have to consider Inter Milan are obviously having some issues, but they've just made a lot of money on a right back. So, I mean, up to Chelsea, but I think their sights on Erling Haaland is probably the right place to go. But then again, James, think about it. Like, if you're giving that kind of money that Chelsea are supposedly looking at potentially putting in for Haaland, put that to Inter Milan, they'll probably accept it. So it's kind of an interesting one, isn't it?
I think Inter Milan could probably accept 70 to 75 million. Would you say so? Would that be decent for Lukaku?
I think after the year he had, that's too little, personally. Okay. I think that, we've talked about this, James. He's in that echelon of, there's probably about 5, maybe 6 strikers in the world right now who, on any given week, you could argue is the best striker in the world, depending on how they play. And Lukaku's one of those guys. Leaving them with just Lautaro Martinez and maybe bringing in somebody like Vlahovic or, Andrea Belotti, maybe. But again, it's a lot of work for the Italian clubs to do just to kind of get a move like that happening. I'm not so sure.
We're going to get into your comment in a minute. Let's just see what Sammy has to say quickly.
Sammy, Benzema is our captain, bro. Marcelo should be 9th choice left back this season. Hey, I'll tell you, I know this is kind of a little bit off topic here, but I watched the highlights for the Brazil-Germany game you were talking about in the Olympics. Dude, Dani Alves has still got it.
Listen, Dani Alves, I'm pretty sure. Wait, is he playing center mid for them?
No, he's still right back, but he's captain. Okay. He's not missed a beat. Dani Alves is ridiculous.
Dani Alves could still probably slot into this Man City team right now, and you wouldn't even notice the difference.
Dude, João Cancelo would take a seat easily. Silver Surfer, I saw your Arsenal video earlier in the evening. I really wonder who's making those transfer decisions. Can you guys really blame the owners? They're certainly spending. James, I'll leave that one to you, mate.
I wouldn't say that they're certainly spending. Is Stan all to blame for it? No, because there's people who make decisions there, but he's the people who hire these people. If you really care about the football club, you would get the right people in at the right time. If he really believes Arteta is a guy to take Arsenal forward, compared and seeing what he's seen in the last one and a half seasons, I'm kind of questioning my teeth right now, and touching touching my beard, because yes, I get it. People make the decisions, but he hires these people to make decisions. Is he hiring the right people to make these decisions? That's that's also my problem. And also, we talk about spending. Has he really spent that much? I'm not sure the exact figures, but since he's been owner of Arsenal, going on spending, he's took more out of the club than he's actually spent. From the club. So I wouldn't say that he's actually spending, but being an Arsenal fan, it's always been a roller coaster ride. Let me tell you that.
Gary Garner's stack of ribs. I just think if Chelsea want to make a real assault on the title, bringing in somebody's of Benzema's experience and proven quality would be a boost for the club next year, maybe. Unfortunately, mate, I just think that if the extension is going to be there from Real Madrid and it's not too much of a disrespectful, wage and length of contract, that he's just going to keep accepting it. James, there's certainly an argument here to be had that Benzema might be the best number 9 that club's ever had. And I think that his legacy there will be continued over the next couple of years. Because think about it, they're going to want that league. They're going to want to challenge in the Champions League, and especially if they get somebody like Kylian Mbappe, they're going to want a Frenchman called Karim Benzema there.
Again, we don't know what's going to happen with Erling Haaland, but I look at Benzema right now and in like what's his motivation? His motivation is, okay, I can captain the biggest team in the world. I can lead them. I have records to break. He can almost equal Raul when it comes to the all-time leading goal scorers. I know he's not going to catch Ronaldo, but he can easily catch Raul. So there's a lot for him to still do. I like Real Madrid. And also look at the way Real Madrid are constructed right now. They let an experienced player in Ramos go. They really want to let another experienced player in Benzema go at the same time. I very much doubt that's going to happen.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I think Chelsea need to either take a risk on a younger guy, or they need to put the money up for the real deal. And it feels to me right now that that's going to be Erling Haaland.
Silver Surfer, like PSG, Chelsea. I get it. I want to laugh at them both, but in the last 10, 15 years, they have been more successful than both of our clubs, and especially Chelsea. I'm not even gonna. You can laugh at what you say about Chelsea, but the fact of the matter is that Champions Leagues, Premier League, Europa Leagues, everything they've won, FA Cups. You can't argue with Chelsea's results. Right. Terrible club, not really. Everything about Chelsea is actually good. Like, I hate to say it, me being an Arsenal fan, I hate Chelsea are just good. You can't hate. They're just good. I mean, talk about the women. They're good.
Yeah, the one thing with I think Chelsea that's always wound me up over the years is, it's Roman Abramovich has just come in and made them good. It's as simple as that. This was at a time prior to FFP where they could just throw money around and basically buy the title, and that's exactly what they did. But here we are, however many years later, and Roman Abramovich might be the best owner in the whole league. That man takes loss after loss financially, but his team
does
like that
well. For the past 15 years, and for him to still Roman Abramovich is to me what every football club wants in in an owner, someone that really cares. You can mention how he sacked managers, but he sacked managers. He doesn't do it for his ego. He does it for Chelsea.
Yeah,
he ultimately wants to see Chelsea succeed
for themselves. Yeah,
listen, if you ask Chelsea fans, I remember when Frank got sacked and Chelsea fans were all in awe and how can he do that? 6 months later, they were laughing to the bank. Frank, who? European champions. That's what they were speaking, and you can't hate against things like that.
Sammy, Chelsea is similar to Madrid, always sack managers and have great cup success. Yeah, I mean, but you say that Premier Leagues came along with it when Abramovich was in there. Come on, they paid their way to success. That's what football. Yeah, I agree with you. They did do that. There's no denying it. Chelsea were in terms of the Premier League era. Chelsea really were not up to much at all until Roman came in.
But Silver Surfer, of course they paid, and I think this is the way football is nowadays. And I hate it, but it is what it is. You talk about pain. What about Barcelona? What about Real Madrid, who started this whole thing with the Galacticos policy? But it's Real Madrid who started this whole thing with the Galacticos policy, buying all the best players for crazy amounts. That's what football is, and you can have that money, but it depends the way you spend it. And Chelsea have spent it the best out of all these football clubs, and they've got it right.
Yeah. Gary Garner Stackeroos, we were still pretty decent before Abramovich turned up, but he took us to exactly. Yeah, Chelsea weren't pushovers, but they weren't title contenders. They weren't winning a league once every 4 or 5 years, Do
you know what? Chelsea was Djokovic before 2011. He was like, Federer and Nadal looking, he's pretty good. And then when that flick went off, it was done. And that's what Chelsea are. Arsenal and Man Utd were looking, Chelsea, they're good. And then Abramovich comes in and everything just flips on its head. And that's all she wrote really.
PSG and Man City were mid-table clubs before their billionaires turned up. Yeah, look, you're right. But unfortunately, like James said,
I'm pretty sure the PSG now win some. PSG won some leagues. They had some top players. They had Ronaldinho, JJ Okocha. They had Pochettino. They were all right. Man, like Man City was the one that when they got that injection, it was mad. But PSG were like a decent challenging side. They won, I think, 1 or 2 leagues before the money came in.
So, James, let's say, for argument's sake, that Pogba is out of Man United. You are in charge of transfers at Man United. Which central midfielder are you going for? Why?
For me, I have to look at how Manchester United have been building, and it seems like they want to build in this strong English core, but they also want young players. So Camavinga is someone that, to me, they have to bring in. I feel like he fits that style, and like he will be a Man United player for a long time. And then I look at it. So what do they need next to him? And it's hard. I would have liked someone like a Basuma there. I feel like he works, but probably, as you said before, Saul looks good. If they can get a Leon Goretzka, that would be nice too. So around that, but Camavinga should be their main target, because that should be their poster boy for the next 5 to 10 years. Because Man United have always seemed to build like that, like they doing with Rooney, like they doing with Ronaldo. Invest in the youth and they'll pay off
down the line.
Yeah,
I'm kind of in the same boat. I think Camavinga needs to just be bought. Like Camavinga just needs to be bought regardless. I mean, getting a player of that potential for that price, James, if we're being honest, this guy could cost more than Paul Pogba in the next couple of years. So let's not mess around and think, oh, is he worth 30 million euros? No, just pay it and just wait and see. They need to move on from Matic in a big way. I don't think Fred is all that. I personally really rate Scott McTominay, and obviously Donny van der Beek as well. It's like, a decision's got to be made there, because he's either going to have to play football or he's going to have to move on. So for me, I would just go.
Jack, I want you to hear this out. Okay, you take Bruno Fernandes out of it and just look at a double pivot. Think about the names you just mentioned there.
Yeah.
Do you really feel them names are going to lead you to a Premier League title, Jack? You got Fred, you got McTominay.
This is what I'm saying. So for me, that's why it would be Goretzka. That's why Goretzka would be my guy. I like Saul Niguez. I like Camavinga. And like I said, I think Camavinga should be bought in regardless. If I'm any club, hell, if I'm Arsenal, Spurs, anybody, I would buy Eduardo Camavinga. But I just think Goretzka, you've got a really good opportunity there for a guy who seems to me to fit the kind of Manchester United profile of the type of player that they want there.
But I feel like Goretzka is going to need someone next to him and someone that really breaks the lines. Because Goretzka is a good player in that, but he seems to be like a destroyer, a ball winner more than anything else. Right. Someone that breaks lines, not with the ball, but like with the runs he makes. So I think you're going to need like that ball carrier, someone like a Marco Verratti. If they can bring someone like that in next to a Leon Goretzka, it looks to me, it would look nice then.
Yeah, I mean, I think the problem, and we've talked about this 100 times already, all these big clubs have so much dead wood they need to get rid of, and Manchester United are arguably top of that list.
Arsenal top of that list.
No, dude, I think I saw a tweet the other day about I think Manchester United have 35, 36 players in their squad who have all made first team appearances in the Premier League.
They might need to sign me too. It's possible.
But think about the names like Matic, Juan Mata, right? You got all these kind of names who probably haven't played football in a year. You know what I mean? So anyway, sorry, Silver Surfer.
Yeah, so Silver Surfer, your top 5 this year. That question always kind of gets me a bit. When someone asks me this after a team just won something, I'm like, really? We just been through a whole season. Now you want to ask me this already?
Right.
Top 5 as constructed right now, Jack. As constructed right now. What do you have?
So are we saying that the transfer window ends Friday, 23rd of July at 10:46?
Yes. And Jadon Sancho is a Manchester United player.
Oh man. I am going to say, oh my God. I can't.
You want me to go?
It's so hard.
Let me play safe and let's go. Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man United, Leicester City.
Man United 4th.
Are they better than Chelsea? Are they better than Liverpool?
Maybe.
They're not better than Chelsea. They're not better than Chelsea.
James. Oh, James, I'll put 4 cases of
Man
United
United,
right now.
Man United better than this Chelsea team.
I'll put 5 cases of Mountain Dew on it, mate. Do you know what I mean?
You got a deal.
We could do that bet. I don't know what we would. Maybe we'd have to do some sort of forfeit. But I think Man United are definitely finishing above Chelsea.
Guys, if you want to sponsor us for this, let us know.
I was weighing up in my head. To me, there's one of 3 winners next year. There are 3 teams which could win the league, and they are Liverpool. Man,
I think it's 4. In my opinion, it's 4.
I think it's the 2 Manchester clubs and Liverpool, because I think Virgil van Dijk's coming back. Okay. Yeah. And that's a huge difference. Ibrahima Konate is going to be next to him. I do expect that Andy Robertson and Trent are going to be right back at it. And I do expect them to find a better midfielder at some point. Jadon Sancho makes a huge difference. Thank you, Silver Surfer. Appreciate that. And I think that I know that we're not supposed to do this. But for me, I've just got this idea in my head that, Man United were better away from home than they were at home. And now they're going to have Old Trafford full again. And if they can keep that away from them up, that's winning the league.
I feel like Old Trafford can also play against them, because when things ain't going wrong and then the crowd does get a bit itchy, you know what? It's like they're just remember when the crowds did get back against Fulham, they didn't win. But
James, Jadon Sancho, Rashford, Cavani.
I get it. One thing about the Chelsea team, they are European champions. Yeah, get that right. Yeah. We are going to see a full season of Thomas Tuchel, and I think Thomas Tuchel's return when Chelsea manager. I think Chelsea were like 5th or 6th, from period of him being like in charge at the end of the season. Chelsea were 2nd or like 1st when it came to form. So that's why I don't look at this Chelsea team and be like, oh, they can't challenge. This team, when we were talking about them before Frank's debacle, we were like, ooh, this team can really, really challenge. And now they have a manager in Thomas Tuchel who has them properly organized. Are you telling me that they can't really go for a league?
No, I think they're going to I think they're going to finish 4th this year. I still think that they don't have the players to mentally be able to deal with a title challenge. That's my only gripe with them. They're more forward players, not necessarily defensively, but I still get the sense that we're going to be talking about Timo Werner missing big chances.
Listen, and not on that though. So Gary Silver Surfer has Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool, Man United, Arsenal 5th. Interesting. Arsenal 5th. Oh, bro. Listen, constructed right now, Gary. I'm not sure about that. Right. I wouldn't take that.
You wouldn't take 5th.
Top 4 or bust for me, Jack.
Oh, dude. Which team are making it ahead of Arsenal?
Listen, you better take someone out, because we have no European football, Jack. We have no European football after challenge.
Honestly, Silver Surf has really put us in a bit of a spot here. I will say that if Manchester United don't sign a Pogba replacement or Varane, that they probably come 2nd. And then I think, oh man,
do you think Chelsea don't add to their squad?
City, Man United, Liverpool, Chelsea, 5th.
And Gary Stack Ribs makes a
Leicester 5th, Leicester City.
You might laugh, but pardon, Jack?
So my one quickly: City, United, Liverpool, Chelsea, Leicester. I think just because Leicester are so solid. Gary Garner, Stack Ribs, you might laugh, but not many had us to win the UCL last year. Yeah, I know, but it was a bit of a weird year for the UCL. I think we need full stadiums back. I think that with every title victory and every competition that's been won during COVID, there is that asterisk over it, unfortunately.
But you look at the teams that they were able to beat: Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid, Man City. It wasn't an easy run, and they did that. It wasn't quite 2012. It wasn't quite 2012, but we'll take.
Hang on, is Sammy picking Spurs above Chelsea there?
Yes.
Sammy, all I'm saying is Harry Kane was top scorer and top assist leader, and they finished 7th. So I don't know if he's going to outperform last year, especially if he wants to leave. So I don't think Spurs are anywhere near the top 6. Personally, I'd put Spurs. I think will be sixth to eighth again, just like Arsenal.
Guys, I'm just gonna put it out to you guys. Who's gonna be a more of a surprise this year, Arsenal or Tottenham? Who do you guys have finishing like higher? Because I feel like Arsenal are a team that can go rather really bad the way it's been, or they could surprise everyone the way how Jack had them second last year. It could be something like that, but it's because no European football makes such a big difference. Like such a big difference. Like now Arsenal's just concentrated on that one league game every single week. You've seen what Liverpool were able to do there. There's me just trying to be optimistic, and we're still probably going to be trash.
I still think Spurs.
Come on, Sammy.
I think obviously Kane is a huge difference maker, but you know Daniel Levy's not an idiot. If Kane goes, a big name is coming in. A big name.
But Gary Stacker Ribs, such a funny name.
Let's just call him Gary.
Yeah, I'm just gonna call you Gary. But let's just say Kane does go. But what about if they bring in some good replacements for him? Players like a center midfielder, that they need a good center back and a top striker. Does that not make them an even better team? I get it, Kane's goals and assists, but you can let a player go and then have suitable replacements in different positions that really benefit your team. If they do something like that, would that stop them from getting into the top 7?
I think one thing that's really big, James, is that we're going to see. You know, I think any Spurs fan will tell you, and maybe Silver Surfer can correct me here, but I think the most disappointing thing for Spurs last year was their fullbacks, their wing backs, fullbacks, whatever you want to call it. And I think that we know Matt Doherty as the wing back who excelled so much under Nuno Espirito Santo at Wolves, right? So to me, if Nuno can get the fullbacks going again, then maybe there's going to be more service into the attacking players, takes a bit more pressure off the defense. Maybe midfield doesn't have to do as much running. I don't know. But I do expect Spurs to do a better job.
So it's just some breaking news, and this is just hasn't been confirmed yet, but apparently Mbappe has told Pochettino that he will not be renewing with PSG this season. And could it possibly happen?
James, it's happening. Real Madrid, August. Book it.
We have Rumi right here.
Rumi, what's up? Kane would be lost without Tottenham. Rumi with a hot take.
Tottenham would be lost without Kane if I'm being truthfully honest. Both teams just go hand in hand,
Dude, yeah, James, who's your source on that info?
So it just came from it came from Madrid Extra. It came from this guy. I can't even pronounce his name.
Oh yeah. No, I know the El Transistor.
Listen, I'm not really sure, but guys, right there.
It's on there. Madrid Extra. Madrid Extra is a pretty good follow, anyway.
Yeah, to be fair, like they're very reliable, but for it feels right now, maybe that maybe Jack might be right. Mbappe will be
in August. It's not going to happen soon, but it will be a late one, and it will happen, I think. And also, James, just to say on the Kane thing, look, and hear me out, everybody. Hear me out. Don't just call me nuts just because I've started talking. All right. If you sign Danny Ings, okay, and then you sign a centre back, another central midfielder, maybe a fullback, another centre back, right? Is there going to be that much of a drop-off from a 7th place finish last season? Yeah, it's a huge downgrade at the striker position. We can all agree. Danny Ings can't lace Harry Kane's boots. But we've seen what Danny Ings has been capable of, whether it's been at Burnley or whether it's been at Southampton. Danny Ings is a good player.
We have an interesting comment here from Silver Surfer Jack.
Silver Surfer, the problem with Spurs is Kane will be injured mid-season, won't have a proper backup. It's always a lack of preparation, basics. It's just fans out of control, really. Yeah.
Do you know what, Silver Surfer? You're not wrong here, because Harry Kane, I think in the last in the 7-year span of him being at the top of his game at Tottenham, I think 4 or 5 of them seasons he's had this weird ankle injury around coming around mid-season. It's always happening. I don't understand why Tottenham never really had a proper suitable replacement for Kane, because especially last season when like you knew it was going to happen. Vinicius, I get it, he's good in that, but I don't think Tottenham even prepared Vinicius for that role at all. So when Kane did get injured, it was almost like, so what do we do right now? I will never forget that game. Wait, what game was it? The Brighton game where Tottenham were without Harry Kane. You guys look completely clueless, and that's something that to me Tottenham I gonna need to rectify. Danny Ings, why not take a stab at him? His quality overall, and yes, it's not Harry Kane, but he definitely makes it like a big difference with his ability.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, James. Like, let's be honest. All you're doing, right, is you're just dropping. Yeah, thank you. All you're doing, right, is you're just dropping the standard of one position so you can upgrade about 4 or 5 other positions, right? And with Danny Ings, you're probably like in that Spurs team. What I mean, James, are we crazy to say that Danny Ings might be lurking between 15 and 20 goals?
No, I'm pretty sure he has produced that on a number of occasions.
Right.
Like Rumi, I get it. They probably won't find a player as as good as Kane, but Danny Ings.
I'm just saying.
I look at Danny Ings I look at what he has. He's not just a goal scorer. Danny Ings can play, Jack. You know, he roams about the pitch. He drops, he receives the ball. He drives, and he has.
I'd take him around.
Pass. I mean, did Mourinho not mention something like that?
I hope so, because seriously, and if Spurs want Xhaka, you know, you guys at this point of his career, you guys can have him. Silver Surfer, totally agree with your comment. Lack of game time for players on the bench is a huge concern, and that's always going to be the problem when you play that kind of a system, and that's always been kind of the major issue. You know, sometimes I think sometimes what you really want is a player who can play striker and wing. You know, a lot of the time, I think, you know, speaking of teams that do that, Manchester United do that really well. There's a number of players who can play the wide position, can also play 9. So what you'd really want is whoever's playing on one of the wings to be the backup 9, but they're both playing, you know?
Do you know what? Okay, a player who maybe probably wouldn't join Tottenham, but is this a suggestion? Because I do think that he would be available. Someone like Anthony Martial.
Right.
You know, he would honestly be available. There was another player in my head that I totally forgot. Raul Jimenez. I know like he's had the injury and we're not sure what he's gonna be like, but Raul Jimenez at his best, like he matches a lot of top players. So it's not like there aren't players out there that could fit Kane's role or like even like come in and just help him out. There are players out there.
But like I said, I think that main thing, and you touched on it there with Martial. Like, if your front three is like Martial on the left, Son maybe somewhat on the right, and then Kane going through the middle. If Kane then goes down, you just stick Martial in at striker, right? So the drop off isn't there at number 9 as much, and he can play that position. And then in comes a Lucas Moura or a Steven Bergwijn, right, or somebody just off the flanks, and you know that just kind of works better as opposed to like a Carlos Vinicius or who was the. Do you remember the Dutch guy they had before who was backing up Kane? Anyway, I forget his name, but they've had a bunch of Kane backups who like basically done nothing because obviously Kane has been playing the whole time and he doesn't really get subbed off.
Again, yeah, but even someone like a Lucas Moura, I feel like with Tottenham, I never understood this new Lucas Moura issue. Because to me, I've always looked at him as being an adequate player. He's a top player. But why does he not feature on a regular basis?
Rumi's got me covered. Yep, Janssen. Yeah, that was it. Vincent Janssen. That was it.
No. He was awful. Can't even lie.
But again, he never had any game time. He never had game time. His game time would be 5 minutes at the end of a game when Kane wanted to come off. That was it.
No, but also when he played, it was worrying. It was almost like he needed someone to hold his hand. I remember like him missing penalties and all like in like all sorts. Like he always used to drop in like his whole build-up play was great, but when it mattered in the box, he wasn't that guy. You know, he's doing well out like outside of Tottenham, but he struggled to be fair when he was at Tottenham. Again, there's been a lot of Tottenham talk today. Hasn't been enough of Arsenal and like Paul Pogba's and like all that sort of stuff. But
what if you're Pogba? What do you do, James? That would be my question.
if I'm Paul Pogba, I feel Paul Pogba made his mind up 2
Yeah,
seasons ago.
but what would you do?
What would I do? What I do is quite biased.
Okay.
I would want to stay at Man United and win with Man United. To me, top 3 biggest club in the world. Like a team that when you win, the status that they're going to put you at is high. I would want to stay in Man United and I want to stay in the Premier League. Now, what Paul Pogba wants to do is completely different on how I feel about the whole situation. I don't want Paul Pogba to leave the Premier League. I rate Paul Pogba very, very highly. I know he's had his criticisms here or there, but to me, overall, what he's doing has been good. You know,
I just think he needs a fresh start, and I think that we'll see a better Paul Pogba at PSG. You're playing with Sergio Ramos, Hakimi, Donnarumma, Wijnaldum, and then you're going to keep Neymar as well, and maybe Mbappe goes, but then you've got either Moise Kean or Icardi. That PSG team are definitely one to look at for the Champions League.
But Rumi actually says this right now. Paul Pogba's exit has been pending from Mourinho, and it's always been like that for a while now. I also feel like the one thing that has drive Paul Pogba away is the British media. He has been killed and scapegoated for so many years, and I feel like it's got to him to the point like, okay, you guys don't rate me, I want to leave. You know, because to be fair, for the criticism that he has gotten, he has a lot of thick skin. Because I don't think a lot of people can survive this sort of thing. It's almost like he's being bullied and targeted. You know,
Gary, there's no way anybody's with a year left on your deal with a player who wants to leave. There's no way they're getting that money. No way. This deal would be 60 mil ish, somewhere around that kind of mark. Like seriously, we're not, and it's no disrespect to Paul Pogba. It's the fact that, you know, this guy's got a year left. There is no leverage from Manchester United to demand that kind of money.
For real, Souness is a joker.
Souness is the worst. Souness needs to be fired, man. Seriously. Yeah, well, Rumi, there you go. 55-60. That's about right, I think.
And like, to be fair, 55-60 for a player on a final year of his deal, I don't think it's the worst thing. But Man United did pay 80. Would you, like, okay, you're Manchester United right now. Would you take the money or like, would you take a swap deal for a player?
I think it depends. It depends who you're offering. You know, plain and simple. I think that, you know, if things weren't going so hot with Varane, and that maybe they offered somebody like a Kimpembe, I think that Man United would have to consider that. You know, I don't know, because James, there's no way they're giving Verratti. So which midfielder do you want? You really want Paredes? Probably not.
You know, I probably would ask for Verratti in that.
They wouldn't give you Verratti. There's no way. There's no way they'd give you Verratti.
I was Man United. Why? Listen, have a go. You know, offer if you want.
May as well ask for Mbappe. May as well ask for Mbappe, mate.
Jack, I'm not playing like.
They
why not?
Should. They probably should.
We just want to renew, like for like. It makes sense. Like,
and maybe Cavani would be tempted to go in with the deal as well to go back to PSG.
No. Him and Neymar's relationship is a bit. So Neymar's there, so it's
okay. Rumi's made the point. This is what I've been thinking for a minute now. Like, if they don't sign a midfield replacement, I think that speaks volumes as to what the plan's going to be for Van der Beek this year.
You know what? Could it be? I don't think so. From the point of view that I don't think Oli rates him, because even when Paul Pogba missed a massive chunk of time. Do you remember, like, when Man United were going on this big spurt and then Paul Pogba went out and then they went downhill? Van der Beek didn't play during that time. You know?
But do you think Oli has that kind of power? I don't think he has that kind of power.
Well, he picks a team.
Yeah.
You know, they must see something that we don't see.
But he doesn't, like, if Sammy's still in the chat, he'll be able to tell you this. Like, it's not always the manager that picks the team. There are sometimes players who get picked because the higher ups have told you to pick that player. And Oli, to me, does not strike me as the manager in terms of quality where he has the final say. If these big time executives have spent 40 million, I don't know how much it was 40 million, right, on a player. If they want him to play, he will play.
I'm pretty sure Ed Woodward doesn't have that sort of power, in my opinion. He like, it's, to me, it's not like a Florentino Perez where he must have his stars there. Right. Listen, like, Oli was already dropping Paul Pogba like when he wanted to. He picks the team. And like from what I've seen on this whole Van der Beek thing, I just feel like he just doesn't rate him as a football player.
Right.
There's on a number of occasions where you're thinking, okay, Van der Beek today, Van der Beek today, Van der Beek, and it's just to me, it's just not happening.
But James, I would wonder why there haven't been more concrete rumors about him moving on. Then you know what I mean? Like I know we've had like. Was that Lorcan? Jack looking like a prime Ed Sheeran, the hair's wavy, plus Gretzky would be a great signing for United. Dude,
look, always coming with these.
Listen, dude, I'm getting a haircut tomorrow. It's not pretty right now.
It depends what type of Ed Sheeran are we talking about. Are we talking about A-Team Ed Sheeran or like thinking out loud Ed Sheeran? So it depends on what type of prime.
Hey, dude, I got the trashy colored sleeve as well. So we're all colored. We're all covered there.
Like he can really a person. Yo, Rumi, stop it. Yo, Rumi, stop it. Come on, stop it. No, I'm not.
But no, seriously, like James, if I'm Man United personally, this is what I would do. If you can get Goretzka, you got to go for it. That is, I mean, I love that player so much. I think he's so good. And I think that would just be ideal for them if Pogba leaves. But failing bringing a player like Goretzka in, because I'm not totally sold on Sal Niguez for this Manchester United team. Eduardo Camavinga bringing in and just, rotation player to develop.
What about a Declan Rice?
They're going to ask for too much money.
First of all, I don't think Declan Rice is at that level, if I'm being truthful. That's just my opinion.
Like James, for me, Declan Rice is a £35 million player, probably. And that's including the English tax. Declan Rice is not some sort of groundbreaking central midfielder. Like, we've got to kind of keep things real here. I've seen stuff talking about him being worth like 70, 80 mil, just like with James Maddison and all these other guys. It's like, okay, everybody needs to chill. Like Ben White for 50 mil is a bit damn rich. Sammy Perez out. Perez made Benitez play Cruz, James, Modric, and BBC versus Barca. We got battered 4-0. So, dude, that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Like, I don't think Oli is respected like that as a manager yet. I think he's a good company guy.
But I don't think Man United have that. I don't think the Man United hierarchy has that sort of power. They respect Oli. Like I haven't heard anything about they ever put pressure on Oli. If they if they didn't do that, if they didn't think Oli wouldn't have that power, he would have been gone a long time ago. Like they respect him to make these decisions. It's not like the Real Madrid issue. It's two completely different things. Perez oversees everything and he makes the decisions at the end of the day. Oli makes his decision in Manchester United, and he got who he wants. He wanted Harry Maguire at the time. They got him.
Yeah. That was kind of more of the cultural reboot thing, wasn't it? Tammy Abraham is from the ends, bring him, and he's a gunner.
Rumi, no, Rumi, like I get ends or no ends, like no. If you want to bring another Chelsea player in, it's gonna fuck us up. Oh, Rumi, you even have me cursing now. Listen, I'm gonna turn into William. I'll rate Tammy Abrams, but he's not gonna be a success. He's not gonna be like Thierry Henry for us, Yeah. We might as well bring back Giroud.
100 mil for Rice is daylight robbery. Yes, it is. That's more than double than I would offer for somebody like Declan Rice. And I'm not trying to be a dick. Like I just don't think he's all that. Silver Surfer, I don't think fans should be worried that your club. Hang on a minute. Am I reading this right? I don't think fans should be worried at your club. Worried as long as they get the right players. Okay, am I not reading that right, James? I don't think fans should be worried. Your club worried as long as they get the right players.
Yeah, so he doesn't think football fans should be worried as long as your team gets the right players. Yeah, of course. Listen, if I still get the right players, I'm not gonna out here be upset about it. Ultimately, football fans want the best for their football club. But from what we see as football fans right now, it's not good enough. If you're a Tottenham fan, if you are a Man United fan to an instinct, if you're a Liverpool fan, and definitely if you're an Arsenal fan.
Lorcan, who's obviously a Spurs fan, I hate to say it, but if Arsenal can bring in I think he meant to say GK. Yeah, there you go. Goalkeeper, go and get another central midfielder. They'll have a very good season. No European football will be a godsend this season. Yeah, I mean, I'm really sorry to say this, but with the transfer window as it is right now, I still can't see Arsenal doing anything better than 7th or 8th, James. I'm sorry.
Lurking, the biggest thing for me with Arsenal is, to me, just how bloated this squad is with a lot of dead wood. You know, we still have players like Lucas Torreira in there that doesn't seem to be needed. El Nene, I would probably keep him. Joe Willock, what do we do with him? Reece Nelson, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Kolasinac, Bellerin, Granit Xhaka, so many like players who shouldn't. William, with like Lacazette. Those are 10 players that are not I mentioned right now that do Arsenal really need, you know? And then like I do look at what we need to bring in. A right back is to me a definite that
huge
that is to come in. The goalkeeper issue to me, I don't know what this Leno thing's going on right now. Do we is Leno going? Is he staying? Like I'm not really sure, but we definitely need
dude. If I'm Arsenal,
challenge him. You know,
if I'm Arsenal, James, I'm going so hard for Keylor Navas. It's not even true. I would go hard.
Listen, without if they even want to do a swap deal, like Keylor Navas will make mistakes, but he's a much better goalkeeper than like Berlino. If I look at Jack, that's a great shout for first of all, Keylor Navas.
You got all the leverage. They've got you know. I mean, I don't know how many goalkeepers they have right now because they've still got. Haven't they got Alphonse Areola there as well? They've got a bunch of goalkeepers. I'm pretty sure I've seen some tweets about that.
We spoke about it. Like I've already mentioned 10. I've already mentioned 10 players. But also, would you get rid of Aubameyang because his preseason hasn't been the greatest? Let's be truthfully honest. To be fair, Max Aarons has always been a player that has been linked heavily. Everyone says he's a baller. He's been linked with Man United. He's been linked with Tottenham, Arsenal. Again, am I fan to bring him in? Yes, but the question is, how much is he going to cost? Because you know what English players are like. If it's going to be another 45 million pounds, I'm like, do you really want to spend spend that on a right back?
But I think the thing is, James, like we know that he's going to be less effective for Norwich this year. That's why I think they'd be willing to sell him. I think there were even comments from like Delia Smith or even the manager or somebody recently who was like, yeah, he's going to move on like probably this year because like him and Buendia, you just can't keep players like that at the club. It's like it's impossible.
But how much are we looking at for a player like Max Aaron? Because I'm a huge fan. I like listen. I like what he brings, and I feel like he can make Arsenal even better. But the price needs to be right.
I would be very surprised if they demanded any more than 25 mil. Because seriously, like we can talk about what a projection he's going to be and how great he might be in the future. But if we're being realistic, like he's not really done it yet. We've seen it, right? And he could be a Ryan Sessegnon, you know, it's not unheard of. We don't know whether that's going to be the case or not. But to really demand like 30 plus, like Buendia kind of money.
What in the hell happened to Ryan Sessegnon? Where is he? He went to Tottenham for 70 million. Where is he? Like, where's Wally at this moment of time with Ryan Sessegnon?
Well, I think Lurkin or Silver Surfer are probably your guys to ask about that. But I think he might have gone on loan, but he's always been a guy that's been stuck between a left wing back and a left winger. Like, what do you do with a player like that? You know, and you're always going to struggle to find the best position. Silver Surfer, Arsenal should take care of the dead wood. It's going to be a very toxic season. Yeah, no, James and I did talk about this in another video, so please, you know, go ahead and watch that either after this or at any point in the future. But like, it's hard. Everybody's looking to sell. Everybody. I could name so many players at so many different teams who are looking to sell players right now, and with loads of people selling and not many people buying, it's not easy. I think the first one, now that Lokonga is through the door, I fully expect Granit Xhaka to agree the deal with Roma. I do think Lucas Torreira will be a loan with either an option or an obligation to buy to maybe an Italian team. And then, you know, you move from there, but you can't buy until you sell.
You know, Rumi makes a great point there when it comes to the British players. This is the reason why you're seeing Arsenal linked with a lot of like British
Ramsdale,
players like Ramsdale, because I'm pretty sure like I'm not like we and Rumi spoke about how there's like a point of like players over 21 that like are British that you must have in your squad, and Arsenal don't seem to have that at this moment in time. So that's why you're seeing Ben White going for this price. We're going for James Maddison. We're going for Ramsdale. It's not like these players are quality, but Arsenal do have to meet this the status quo at the same time.
Damsgaard, guys, good 1v1, great free kicks. I'm always a little I'm always a little hesitant to like go for players if they've just had a good tournament. You know what I mean? Like, hasn't Damsgaard only played 1 year in Serie A? Like, I
Let
don't
me just
know.
make sure. To be fair, Jack, 21. Would you not take a stab at him in that situation? 21 years of age, like
What, Damsgaard?
yeah, Sampdoria. How much could you get him for? I mean, like that's a decent buy right there.
Do you think
know?
so though? Like, how
25.
confident are you? But how confident are you that he's going to be a good player?
Well, for Arsenal, he's better. He'd definitely be better than what we have. You know.
What position would you play him?
Again, wait there.
Do you know what I mean? Like, if you've got the three behind the striker, maybe as Smith Rowe and Saka and Pepe, is he going to be on the bench? Like, do you know what I mean? I don't know.
Me,
it feels icky
I
to
look
me.
at overall, like what he offers. Could he be a bit more consistent than players like Pepe? Players like, again, Saka's to me Saka's a shoo-in. He's a wide man. And bar Saka, Arsenal have a lot of players that be like, we're not sure what we're gonna get. If we bring him in right now, I guarantee you his consistency levels are gonna be better than like someone like a Pepe. He can definitely slot in there. I wouldn't be against Arsenal bringing him in if I'm being truthfully honest.
Man, I don't know. I would need to see more.
Like tournament gems are always what you want, you know. Like you got Lucas Podolski in 2006, and
I don't know. I want to see. I think I'd want to see one more year in a Sampdoria team and see how well he does before pulling the trigger. Maybe January, maybe. But you know, to me, I don't know. He kind of got in there lucky. Max Aarons' quality. He'd demand a bigger fee than Buendia. I'm not so sure. He'd demand more than Buendia. More than Buendia.
I'm looking at Max Aarons right now. Buendia was about 35 million, right?
Yeah.
Max Aarons, you're looking 45, 50.
James, I don't think so.
It's to me, it's a British tax, you know, and also Norwich are now a Premier League club, so it like the inflation becomes more.
How much was Ben Chilwell? 40, 45?
Ben Chilwell, I think, was 50 to 60, Jack.
50?
Yeah, 50.
And how much was Wan-Bissaka?
50.
I'm just saying we've seen way, way more from Wan-Bissaka and from Ben Chilwell than we have from Max Aarons.
Yeah, but I really don't think that like a Max Aarons is that far away from them guys.
Really?
Like, no, I don't. Listen, I don't think so. I feel like Max Aarons, for what he brings, he's as good as them guys. You know, again, defensively, maybe not as good as like Wan-Bissaka, but as overall fullback.
Yeah,
you know,
I don't know.
I don't look at you and like Wan-Bissaka and go, wow, Dani Alves type.
No, but it's a different style, isn't it? I don't know, man. I feel like anything more than 25, 30 to me, I think would be a bit cheeky of Norwich. Ryan Sessegnon will get his chance with Nuno. Yeah, no, that's a good shout. I think at left wing back, look, and you're probably right there. And then obviously you got Matt Doherty on the right. That might be solid actually.
Where has he been throughout this whole time? What I'm guessing he must have. Let me actually
been on loan. Did he go back to Fulham on loan?
No. I'm not. I'm pretty sure.
His brother plays for Fulham, doesn't he? Steven Sessegnon, I think, plays for Fulham. Or something like that. I don't know.
Sorry, I'm gonna find out now. So he was on loan at Hoffenheim last season. He played 23 games. You know. Listen,
Madison, that's easy.
I wire every single day. You know, Madison, I like Madison, but the problem is that the fee is just ridiculous. Like let's be truthfully on. This is where, to me, English players lose credibility. Like people look at Jack Grealish, 100 million for Jack Grealish. In what planet?
Yeah,
like I get it. He's a top player in that, but is he really worth that type of money?
Yeah.
Madison was about 35 million. Brilliant.
Yeah,
it works out. That is probably his value. 70 million. I guess
again,
also
James,
looking at
how much are you willing to pay to fill that homegrown slot, though? You know, because the Ben White, you know, it's hard to say that the Ben White.
To me, that's the biggest thing right now because it does make a huge difference. Like having to fill the status quo. I'm guessing that's why we're just going hell for leather like with these guys who just are not worth, like the Ramsdale thing for 32 million. I'm just like, what? Like I get it. He's an all right goalkeeper, but like even if you went to the Euros, I don't still rate you like that.
Right.
He was in a team that shipped, like I remember watching him for Sheffield United, and never once I've been like, oh, he's decent. No, I'll take him at Arsenal. No, you know. Oh, listen, I'll take Matt Ryan when he was there over him if I'm being truthfully honest. And yeah, to be fair, Palace are to me a weird one because it can go either way. You know, it can go really, really good, or Patrick Vieira is going to in for a really tough first season, and he might not even last, which is to me a horrible thing because I want to see Vieira do well, but just Palace is like, it's such a flip of the coin. You generally don't know what's going to happen.
I'm scared. I'm really scared for Vieira. I think like anybody out there, if you look at the players they've let go of in terms of loans ending or contracts expiring or players they've sold, there's basically a first team there that may stay in the Premier League if they all play. And the players they've brought in, some definitely exciting ones that I think they should be really optimistic about. But again, you know, without getting into it too much, James, because I think we know the connotations of why Vieira maybe hasn't had the opportunities that maybe he should have had. But to me, he's walking into a bit of a risk of a job. This wasn't as much of a sure thing. You know, out of all the Premier League jobs, I'd say one of the harder jobs to walk into right now, maybe apart from the Spurs job, is probably the Palace job. And, you know, Patrick's going to have to pull something out of his arse here.
And also the fact that a player like Eze is going to be missing for like the majority for like a good 6 months of the season, and like how much of a part that he plays. Just remember, they also let Townsend go at the same time, so it's a bit. If you're
they got the kid from Reading, didn't they? They got the kid from Reading, who I think a lot of people are high on.
Yeah. Was not Eze?
No.
Yeah.
No, this season they signed him. I don't know. Like I just remember seeing some stuff on him. Tournament gems are bad. We ended up with Ospina after the World Cup. Yeah, thank you, Rumi. I'm just saying. I think we need to see more from Dan.
Ospina was decent for us. Don't do Ospina like that. Like he wasn't good. Like he came in for Chesney and took his place. Like man, I remember when he used to do kickouts and everyone was like, "Ooh, Ospina!"
Yeah. Look, with the amount of money that they must have freed up at Palace, there definitely is some room to bring some players in. And obviously, I rate Patrick Vieira in terms of his decision making on who to bring in and who to keep away. So maybe they'll get lucky, but I'm scared for Patrick Vieira. That could very easily be a February or March sacking if it doesn't go his way. I'm just saying. Lurkin De Silva from Brentford in midfield is a player that is so underrated. One of the top eight could benefit from him for sure. Yeah, he's probably going to be a squad development player, but again, he's English, right? I think. You fill in another. Yeah, I think he's English. You fill in.
Wait. Does he play for Arsenal or like? Is he fully a Brentford player? Oh, like okay,
he's fully Brentford, right? Yeah.
Again, another one. First of all, the Arsenal Academy, I doing a decent one there. You know, we got Smith Rowe, Saka, and like all them guys. So
Rumi's James. There he is. Rumi's put him in the comment. Michael Olise. That's the kid from Reading, I think. Yeah. That's the guy. So I think yeah, apparently, supposedly so. I'm not too familiar with him, but I looked him up when I heard that they'd signed him. I'm
guessing he's a winger, and because I know how much Palace love their wingers. Like, if you go to the Palace Academy, I remember one time when I was there, just filled with wingers.
It's so good. But yeah, like. I think where was I going there? Like, yeah, with Josh De Silva, like again, it's going to be another thing where it's another English player, it's another developmental guy, and also I don't know which teams could really, really benefit from him at this point. You know, maybe in Arsenal, but I think that's the exact kind of player they want to probably avoid at this point.
I just want to know, like, will Arsenal want to buy back a player that like they had in their academy? I always feel teams are very anxious to do these like these type of things. Man United had to swallow their pride back to bring back Paul Pogba. I remember Barcelona when they went to Cesc Fabregas, it was almost like we don't want to pay this this money for him. And I felt Arsenal got ripped off with the Fabregas deal. So I always feel like Arsenal really going to go back for a player that they kind of had before at the same time.
Arsenal, for some reason, keep spending big on English players. They can easily get a great overseas goalkeeper for 30 mil. Well, I think Rumi's kind of made the point, right? Like, you need the homegrown players. And we've already seen a lot of them have been taken up. I mean, James, potentially next season, Man United's front three is going to be Rashford, Greenwood, and Sancho, with Harry Maguire in there, Luke Shaw, Wan-Bissaka. There's a lot of English players knocking around in that team, for example. Chelsea, a lot of English players knocking around in that team too. Liverpool have got a bunch in, so maybe Arsenal need to fill their allotment. I mean, Smith Rowe and Bukayo Saka were really good additions, but I think they probably need a little bit more, don't they?
Sammy, quick one on Giannis Antetokounmpo, best player in the NBA, arguably the greatest performance we've ever seen from an NBA player. Right. Wow, my God.
Yeah, he was.
I'm guessing something must have happened to Jack at this moment in time. This is a bit weird. Right now, guys. I guess I'm gonna carry on with the comments right now. Oh, guys, Jack is back here.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
Jack, you randomly disappeared on me like that. We had technical difficulties, but we are back, guys.
Silver Surfer, thoughts on Brian Gill? I'm not overly familiar with him, but from what little I've seen of him, I know that this is going to be a kind of player to a similar. I think with Spurs, what they like to do is have players who can play on both sides. So they don't have somebody who is specifically a right-sided player or specifically a left-sided player. They can kind of go both ways. There's a little bit of flexibility there. I think that as much as it might be a little bit hard to swallow losing Lamela and 25 million, I think that it's probably potentially the better deal for Spurs with greater upside with Brian Gill. But I think hasn't he been playing at like Ibar?
Jack Silver Surfer wanted you back, so yes, we brought him back for you. But yeah, the one thing with that, really, I get it. Barcelona always do these sort of deals back, but it's also a bit of an embarrassing thing for you guys to let a player of that caliber go, and then when they bring up, you have to pay the money when you already had the player in the first place. Barcelona didn't want to do it with Fabregas. They didn't want to do it with Gerard Piqué when it was almost like, yeah, we'll take him back. It's not the best thing to do, but they do it anyway.
Rumi saying he's a central attacker midfielder, young player of the season in the championship. So there you go. I think obviously Buendia was player of the championship season. So for him to win young player is still pretty good. Brian Gill.
Your second job should be a scout. You should quit your job right now and be a scout, because when it comes to young players, Rumi knows all of them.
What's up, Lewis Watts? I don't know if we've seen you in the chat before, so what's up? We should definitely sell Paul Pogba. Don't get me wrong, he's quality, but if he doesn't want to be in the team, then he doesn't deserve to be there. Dude, I agree with you. I echo those sentiments in a big way. James and I have already talked about it, potentially with Bernd Leno. I think that it's very, very hard to build a project and build a team if you have a big personality and a big player who doesn't want to be there. And the best thing to do is just cut ties. We've seen it countless times. Sir Alex Ferguson over the years cut ties with players who maybe stepped out of their kind of remit in terms of wanting to be there or acting out. So I think I agree with you. And I think the prospect for Man United fans of getting Camavinga, Saul Niguez, or Goretzka or somebody of that nature should be exciting. Or Van de Beek playing should be exciting for Man United fans. Lewis Watts again. Anyways, we've got Van de Beek, who's young and who'll improve massively. He's such a good player. Yeah, I agree with you. Every time I've seen him play, I've not seen him necessarily make mistakes. He's just not been mind-blowing with the limited minutes he's had. That's all.
Also, Lewis, good to have you in this chat. Welcome to the chat. But the one thing I want to ask you with Van de Beek, it seems to me that Ollie isn't a big fan of him, because I get it. We see the potential. We know how good he is, but is he really going to feature for Man United? Because you've seen periods of time where at Man United when Paul Pogba was out and Van de Beek probably should have played, he didn't play. So I'm just asking you right now, do you think, does Ollie really fancy him as a Man United player?
Yeah, Lewis,
Yeah.
give us kind of your analysis on Van der Beek. I think James and I have kind of, maybe disagreed a little bit on whether Ollie rates Van der Beek or not. I personally think he does, but I guess we kind of go from there. James, okay, James and Rumi. Here's something that I have interest in. I don't personally believe that Smith Rowe is that good or is going to be that good. I think he's okay. I think he's decent. But I need you, Rumi in the chat, and James now to convince me why he's good. Go.
Okay, so I look at what Emile Smith Rowe has done for Arsenal, and I feel like he's came in such a difficult period for Arsenal and really, really changed a lot. I look at his qualities overall, and then I look at the qualities of other English players like a Mason Mount, like a Phil Foden, like a Jack Grealish. Listen, these guys are on top of their game right now, but I don't think he's that much off them. Like generally, what Smith Rowe could possibly be, in my opinion, is going in the next World Cup, is going to the World Cup and like challenging these guys for their spot. That's how highly like I rate him. Now, do I want him to be Arsenal solely number 10? No, I want someone in there to challenge him and like really force him to have his game up the whole time. But Jack, this guy has the potential to really be anything he wants.
What if I had to if you had to give me like 2 or 3 things that he does really well, like traits or skills or attributes that he's really good at? Go.
First thing, he drives with the ball. It's tight areas, long distance, he does it really well. I remember the first time I went to go watch him with Rumi, interesting, was the FA Youth Cup game. And the first thing that just popped into my head was Kaká. Just the way when he would receive the ball on a back foot. It's massive praise, but when he receives the ball on a back foot and he just eliminates players, it's not like he's quick.
Yeah.
But when he has the ball at his feet, it's almost like he's running like he's Theo Walcott. That's something that I really love from him. He has an eye for a pass and he can also score goals. Again, Jack, Jack, generally I get it. He's not a name that comes out like that, but Arsenal see a lot in this guy, and I see a lot of this guy, and Rumi will tell you right now.
Leaving it to you. Look, I just with Smith Rowe and Saka, I'm still yet to be convinced that those two are going to be starting players in a title-winning Arsenal team in 5, 6, 7 years. That's all. I think that with both those guys starting, you can make top 4 1 year or so or something like that. But I just look at the positions which those guys occupy compared to City, Liverpool, Man United, Chelsea, etc., and I just think there's still a pretty big gap between those 2 guys and the other positions for the other clubs. I don't know if you agree or not.
Again, let's just with development of players, it's always a weird one because there's so many factors that can come into play.
Right.
But from what I see from them guys in like the trajectory that they're going on, I'm liking it a lot. If I'm being truthfully honest.
Well, he's got Sammy's sign off. You guys know I don't rate youngsters, but ESR as a player. So there you go. You got Sammy on board. So what we got? We got a couple from Lewis. He features quite a lot in cup games in the early season, performed well. I'm really not sure about the reason why he's not been featuring. I think it's because he spent too much time with McFred. Yeah, okay, you might be right. He feels Van der Beek's got to prove himself in his first season. So yeah, it's a shame to say. I think it's a case of proving himself over McFred. Okay, maybe old school, maybe like kind of hazing, maybe like back in the day.
We have a few more comments from Lurkin here, Jack.
No bias here, but as a Spurs fan, I think we might have a decent season. Look, I just but what's I guess the difficulty though, mate, is what's a decent season? Because is a decent season 6th for you guys? Because I don't see you finishing any higher than 6th.
Do you know what? I feel like, yeah, you're right. The way we both look at decent seasons is different. I consider decent season for Tottenham, to me, you got to win the trophy.
Top 10 games for Arsenal.
To me, as Lurkin said, the Conference League, to me, that's something that Tottenham need to target and win. Just something to get over the belt. And a top 6 finish. To me, a top 6 finish would be decent. Okay, let's go a top 5 finish would be a decent season for Tottenham. You know, let's not let's be honest. Tottenham haven't been awful. Just that they haven't been great compared to the rest. Like, if I'm being truthfully honest.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. You've just got to look. This is my thing, James. And you and I have talked about this a bunch. Like, this is the kind of stuff I hate. We need to be a top 4 team. We need to be a top 4 team. Well, if you have like 7 or 8 teams saying they need to be a top 4 team, then half of them are going to get let down. Excuse me. You know, you need to know where you're at. And then you need to react accordingly and try and develop to get to the next point you're trying to get to.
I feel like I get you, and I understand it, but every football fan has expectations of their football club. You know, like me being an Arsenal fan, my expectation is the minimum Champions League top 4 spot, because why? That's what we've been used to. Tottenham fans in the last 5 years, they have been used to, I wouldn't say challenging, but being in and around the top clubs. So I'm guessing like that's what they go. Like,
also,
that's what they consider a good season. You know?
Conference League thing as well. Like, just remember that Jose Mourinho and AS Roma are in that competition too, and we're coming. I
mean, I would listen. I would not be surprised if Jose generally went out to take Tottenham out. You know,
James, I'm expecting it, mate. I'm expecting it. That's going to be Roma's first trophy for a minute. Lewis Watts, Smith Rowe's a decent player overall, quite an exciting talent, good cam. I think Arsenal are lucky to be having him. There you go. And that's from, I think, is he a Man United fan?
Yeah. He is a Man Lewis. Respect.
I'd sell Pogba 75 mil on a longer contract. He's only got 1 year left. I'd let him go 50. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that it'll probably end up being, I think, you know, Rumi even said this too, like 55 to 60. I think that's probably about the fair price. But again, if you're desperate to have the guy going, maybe you take 10 mil off that. You know what I mean? Balogun is going to do well this season. James, you want to take that one?
You know, it depends on what's going to happen with Eddie. Because to me, I feel like you can only have one of these youngsters as like, you know, that striker. Because it's to me, with the Eddie thing, it's that he's going to be that backup guy to Lacazette and Aubameyang, or it's going to be Eddie. Or it's going to be
Martinelli?
Martinelli to me is put in the category of a wide man / striker. I like Balogun. I like what he brings to the team, and I would rather have him than Eddie. But the only problem with the Balogun issue is that there is no Europa League anymore, so we can't, like, when are we going to slot him into games now? You know, so that's to me the awkward thing with it. And also, Rumi mentions a good one right here. Sam Johnson is a much better player than Aaron Ramsdale. In my eyes, is a much better goalkeeper than him. I would rather have him over Aaron Ramsdale, and he would be cheaper, in my opinion.
But how long are you having Sam Johnston for? I don't know how old he is. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, Ramsdale, you could have for 10 plus years. Johnston, I don't know.
Johnson isn't that old. I'm pretty sure. Let me just
worth checking. Lewis, Tottenham have been going downhill recently. Let's see if Nuno can rebuild.
28 is good. 28 is not bad.
Oh, so he's got still a few years. Yeah. Let's see if Nuno can rebuild. He's a good manager. Wouldn't doubt him. Yeah, look, but again, rebuild, you know, there are a lot of these vagaries when we're talking about football. You know, what does rebuild mean? Does rebuild mean finishing from 6th to 8th for a couple of years and then, you know, sneak in a top 4? Because, you know, Man City, Chelsea, Man United, Liverpool, all these guys are going to keep spending and keep going. I think realistically, it feels to me, James, I don't know if you agree with this, I feel like there's a new top 4 now. I really do feel like we're starting to see this kind of the Manchester clubs, Liverpool and Chelsea. That's kind of the new top 4 now.
You know what? If my romantic side will always have Arsenal in that top 4.
Right.
But if I'm being truthfully honest right now, Man City have ultimately replaced Arsenal in that original top. Like, Arsenal, the original top 4 will always have Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man United. That will always be the original top 4 in my heart. But Man City are definitely in there, and our Arsenal better than Man United. Our Arsenal better than Chelsea. Our Arsenal better than Liverpool. No, our Arsenal even better than Tottenham. If I'm being truthfully honest, no. So, like, the whole top 4 thing is kind of that's
the thing. I feel like Man United have closed the gap. Chelsea have closed the gap, and you know, without City signing anybody, Liverpool have closed the gap too. So to me, it does feel like there's a top tier right now of those 4 teams, and then the tier below. I mean, what we saying? Leicester, Arsenal, Spurs, Everton, West Ham. Like,
you know, Jack. If I'm being truthfully honest, in my eyes, there's 4 teams that can win the title this season. Arsenal, and Arsenal, Tottenham, Leicester, they're not a part of them. You know,
No.
it's to me, them guys are gonna battle out, and you hope that one of them have a bad season in point of view of injuries, things that happened to Liverpool last season possibly happen again, but it's gonna be a struggle.
Yeah, James isn't hoping people get hurt. He's just saying if that does happen, it might work out well for Arsenal.
Capitalize on it. But Jack, let's just get through a few more of these comments.
Silver Surfer, the only way to get top four is to mount a title challenge. As much as I want to be positive, Jack is right. Teams are way ahead of us. And this is the problem. I think teams need to stop kidding themselves a lot. And this, like I said, this is something James and I talk about all the time. You need to be realistic about your expectations, okay? And it doesn't matter which team that is. I don't think Roma are going to win the league next year, mainly because I can name about 6 or 7 better teams in the Italian league right now, right? But again, you have to look at what you might consider as a good year, and then you slowly move from there. And enough good decisions in a row, be it transfers, tactically, you name it, anything of that nature. Enough good decisions in a row and you'll get better and better. But enough bad decisions in a row and you're going to fall off a cliff.
But Jack, to me, the thing about the Premier League is that the best team usually doesn't like. You don't have to be the best team to win the league. No, you have to be the most consistent team. So it's not about beating the top teams around, but it's being the other teams around you. And if Arsenal and Tottenham can somehow find a way to stay consistent and go away to teams like Brighton, home and away, and pick up these results week in and week out, that's when the points are going to match up. I mean, are going to rise up, and then you're going to look at it and be like, okay, wait, we're in third, fourth position. But the question is that can they find that consistency for 38 games, which, let's be honest, are very much doubt.
Yeah, no, that's kind of the issue. Lewis Watts, Balogun's an exciting talent as well. Seen him play quite a lot. Not the same tier as ESR, though, of course. Yeah. I mean, that's one for you. That's James. That's one for you.
Listen, no. Balogun, for what he does for Arsenal Academy, he rips the goals he scores. Jack, honest to God, ridiculous. Yeah. But again, I always believe in football. There's levels to this. You know what? And academy football was well different to first team football. And if he can make that transition, we have a serious player on our own. If I'm being truthfully
Lewis Watts again. Lewis, we appreciate your comments, man. Appreciate it. Sam Johnson's a decent keeper. Yeah, would be an all right signing. Again, I don't know. I think you need to be aiming higher. To me, that's a good backup for a club like Arsenal.
I'm pretty sure he played for England too. Did he not play for England too?
Yeah,
he played for England. He played a friendly. Yeah, he played a friendly against Austria, and he was fantastic in that game. Was he in the squad?
He was in the squad ahead of Nick Pope, I think. Was he not?
He might have been, to be fair. He might have been.
He was the second keeper because I think it was Pickford, Johnson.
No. It was Dean Henderson, Ramsdale. No, he wasn't.
No. Henderson dropped out and was replaced by Ramsdale.
Oh, okay.
That's what happened. Yeah. Rumi, why is everyone hating on Rob Holding?
Listen, Jesus. No, do you know what, Rumi? It's that haircut, fam. Man, I don't know.
What's his hair looking like? Is it looking anything like mine right now?
You know what? When white people, it's rather you got the ball look or you don't. And you don't seem to have it. You know, he's looking like Philip Senderos.
Is it like a super tight buzz cut, or is he shaved?
It's shaved, but it's the bits where you can see bits on the side. It's not fully done. He gotta check his razor. It's not. It's not healthy.
Also, any white people out there, if you're going to go bald, at least do the courtesy of having a goatee and saying "what" very loudly at people. You know. Premier League's going to be so exciting next season. Personally, I'm saying United 1, City 2, Chelsea 3, Liverpool 4. Oh man, it's hard, man.
Okay. You know what? Being a Manchester, okay, he's very optimistic. He is optimistic,
but I bet you, and I'm sure Lewis will get at us in the chat and tell me if I'm telling the truth here. Lewis, is that on the basis that you think
Lewis has some supporters here? If I'm being honest,
Lewis, do you think you're going to be getting Varane and a central midfielder, like a good central midfielder? Because I'm telling James, I'm happy to leak this information now. If Man United get Varane and replace Pogba with a top central midfielder, I'm picking United to win the league too.
Question. Quick, big one for Lewis. What would you rather have a top striker or a center midfielder? What for you is more important as a Man United fan? Because you can also argue, you know,
James, maybe, Lewis.
No,
do us a favor.
No,
rank
like, the center back thing's already assured. I think you're going to get Varane.
Really?
Yeah, I think that they'll get.
Okay.
I think that they'll get Varane. But my thing is this: what would I rather have? Another top midfielder, or like how important is the striker to them? And also, listen, Philip Senderos. When I think of Philip Senderos, I think of Didier Drogba and all the nonsense that man put.
I think when I think of dodgy Arsenal defenders, I think of Johan Giroud and Schillaci. Those are my two.
No, Schillaci. Giroud wasn't too bad. He wasn't too bad. Schillaci was the one that Schillaci was a problem. And to be fair, Philip Senderos was good. If people remember Arsenal's 2006 run to the Champions League, he played a decent part. He played really well, and Arsenal kept like a clean sheet throughout the whole thing until we got to the final. And Philip Senderos played a big part in that. And then he seen Didier Drogba, and everything just went off.
Yeah,
Why do people say that? Like, why do people say that Sancho could be I really don't get it. Like, what are people on? Like Sancho don't know how to play football, and like the Premier League is some special place. Like, to me, the Premier League isn't what it used to be. People must get this right. The Premier League has dropped in quality big time, and like you see it from the big six. Look how awful Arsenal have been. Man United, like Liverpool haven't been. Liverpool this is the best we've seen. Liverpool, Man City has been good, and Chelsea has been flip flopping. I just don't.
Silver Surfer. Again, maybe I'm just making a bunch
Sylvester
of
was the one here. Ruby. Sylvester was all my days.
Look, maybe James, maybe you need to maybe I need to chill here a little bit, but maybe I'm just
for me throughout the years. My days. Oh, I remember Sylvester. Oh, listen,
Mikel, did you sign him from United or did United?
Yeah, we did. We did. Guys, I'm gonna call it.
Just quickly, Silver Surfer, look, maybe I'm just making some bold claims here, but I remember seeing this the other day. I think Jadon Sancho, if he plays enough games, like 30 plus games within a season, you're getting double-digit goals, double-digit assists every single year. Let me give you this stat real quick, right? Since the start of the 2018-19 season, only 2 players have scored 30 plus goals and provided 30 plus assists in a top 5 European league. Those 2 players are Jadon Sancho and Leo Messi. Okay, we're not messing around here. Jadon Sancho is the real deal. I think at worst, Jadon Sancho gets you 8 goals and 8 assists in a season. Seriously, I think that's like his floor. I think his average is probably between 10 and 12 goals and assists per year. And a good year, you could be looking at 15 and 15. Seriously, I think he's that kind of player. He's not going to flop.
Guys, unfortunately, I'm going to call the live stream to an end. Love Island. I miss Love Island because you guys. I said only 45 minutes. We'll be going on for nearly 2 hours now. But guys, appreciate everyone who's came out today. All the
Lewis,
comments.
nice to see you.
Thank you.
Rumi, we appreciate Rumi in the chat too.
If you haven't already, guys, please hit that subscribe button. Also hit a like button to that for that algorithm. We appreciate the comments. We appreciate all you guys coming. We will be back soon for another live. Stay tuned, guys. Thanks, Sammy. We have so many other videos coming out. Please go check them out. And thanks for watching. This is Box to Box Football, and we will see you guys